a relation R subset of A cross A is transitive if this statement is true. In this example, I'm going to do something slightly different than I've done in the previous videos. First, I'm going to draw the graph of a relation that is not transitive. All right, so this is the graph of a relation that is not transitive. Now I want to ask the question, what is the one edge that I must add to this graph so that the resulting relation is transitive? Well, let's see. This edge right here tells us that 1 is related to 2. And this edge right here tells us that 2 is related to 3. Now, looking at the blue underlined statement above, notice that this is a conditional statement, and that this part is P, and this part is Q. Now, we know that 1 is related to 2. That's right here. And we know that 2 is related to 3. So we know that 1R2 and 2R3 is true. Right? So our P is true. Now we want the overall conditional statement underlined in blue to be true. So for that to be true, we have to have Q true. So in this case, our Q is 1R3. So we need that to be true. To make that true, we need to add an edge from 1 to 3. And I'll draw that in red. Now, this graph represents a relation that is transitive. And this general structure right here is a good structure to keep in mind. Whenever you have in a graph something like this, for it to be transitive, you need this red edge there. Now, in this next example, I want to do something very similar to what I did above. First, I'm going to draw a graph that represents a relation that is not transitive. And then I'm going to add in all of the edges necessary to make the graph transitive. Our set A is the set containing the numbers 1, 2, 3, and 4. And our initial graph, the graph that is not transitive, is this graph. All right, this graph is not transitive. Now remember this structure from above. Do you see that general structure in the graph on the left? That's right. It was something like that. So that tells us we need that edge there. So we started with that, and then that told us that we needed this red one. Okay, now let's play that same game. We have that, so that tells us we need that. Okay, we have that, so that tells us we need that. All right, and now we have that and that, which tells us we need that. Okay, so now is this new graph with the white and red edges on the left, is that transitive? And the answer is no. The reason it's not is because now we've created more of these general types of relationships after adding these red edges. So now I'm going to add more edges. And these more edges that I'm going to add, I'm going to draw them in blue. So I'm going to add, so now this graph that I have right here is not transitive because I've added these red edges, and now it's created more of these transitive, more of these relationships where we need more edges to make it transitive. And so I'm going to draw these new edges in blue. So see if you recognize this structure in the graph on the left. Do you see that over there? So what this is 1 is related to 3, 1R3, and 3R4. So let's see, our statement would say 1R3 and 3R4. Then what do we need? We need 1R4. So we need that edge. So I'll add that in over here on the left. So there it is. Now let's see. 1, 2, and 4. So here we have 2R4 and 4R1. That tells us we need 2R1. Okay, and this one we have 3R4 and 4R2. That tells us we need 3R2. Let me draw that one a little better. All right, now we have Okay, here we have 4R2, 2R3. So let's see, that's 4R2 and 2R3. So we need 4R3, which I'll do in blue. 4R3 is there. Okay, so now we've added in more edges to make it transitive, and we say, is this resulting graph transitive now? Is this resulting graph the graph of a transitive relation? And the answer is no. Now adding the blue in made it so that we had to add in even more. So let's see what else we have to add in. All right, so here we have 1R2 going this way, and in blue coming backwards we have 2R1. So 1R2 and 2R1, we know we need 1R1. So I'll do this in yellow. So we need 1R1. All right, so you can kind of see the idea, right? So going from 2 to 3 and then back from 3 to 2, that tells us we need that one. And similarly, we need that one. Similarly, we need that one. And now there's really no other edges to add. We couldn't possibly add any more. And so now this graph is in fact transitive, or represents a relation that is transitive.